Good afternoon and welcome to the Dawg post-game show. The Browns won it. Yes, they did. They did what they needed to do again today in awful, horrible weather conditions up there in Cleveland. But they pull out the victory against the Philadelphia Eagles, winning the game 22-17. Eagles got a late touchdown and had one opportunity on the onside kick, but the Browns recovered, and the Browns go on to win, and they are 7-3, folks. 7-3. The last time the Browns were 7-3 was 1994. Yes, and I was there for that too. But right after that season, the Browns left the city of Cleveland after 95. So it's been a long time that we have seen the Browns in this position this late in the year after week 11 going 7-3. What a game. What a tremendous effort. The Browns defense, I thought, really came alive. Just did some amazing things today. Had forced 3 turnovers, 5 sacks, had 10 additional hits on Carson Wentz, who Carson Wentz is floundering right now. I wrote an article about Carson earlier in the week for clevesporttalk.com. Check it out. It's a great article. I'd love for you to read it. But in that article, I kind of talked about what if the Browns had taken Carson Wentz. And obviously, Carson Wentz went on to win a Super Bowl in his second season. He was injured prior to that Super Bowl game, but he did lead the Philadelphia Eagles on a really great run there in 2017. But he has really regressed. Now, obviously, he has some problems offensively with the players that are around him. He does not have the talent such as Baker Mayfield does. Baker Mayfield, again, managed the game very well today. He did not throw an interception. He did not have a touchdown pass. He was sacked, I believe, twice, maybe 3 times in the game. He did fumble it the one time, which was just, that gave Philadelphia the opportunity to score early in the third quarter. The Browns at that point were up 7-0. Philadelphia did get a score right after that to tie the game at 7-7. But it was a really it was well, like ugly or only beautiful wins. And so we're having a little technical difficulty. Thank you for joining us on the podcast and watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. Again, you can follow along at J Cleveland Pod. And right now, I've got the little ticker down there. Again, the Browns again won the game 22-17. I'll give you my contact here if you'd like to contact the show. Again, you can email the show, and I'll show you that right here. And let's see here. We're also on. Let's see if I can get this to come up here. There we go. We on a J Cleveland Pod on Facebook and on Twitter. So it was one of those games where it wasn't pretty, but Stefanski said after the game that's no ugly wins, they're just beautiful wins. And for the Browns, who are at 7-3, you just need to sit back and really take a deep breath and enjoy the fact that that's where the Browns are. It's amazing, folks. Amazing that they are sitting now in second place. The Baltimore Ravens, the dreaded Ratbirds, lost in overtime earlier this afternoon also to the Tennessee Titans. I don't like Tennessee either. I don't like their coach at all. He's a hothead. They're both Baltimore and Tennessee's coaches are hotheads. Apparently there was a skirmish before that game as well, but the Browns get to play both Tennessee and Baltimore still. And again, those games are going to be big. Late games in the season, the Browns have them this year. It's really good to see. Exciting. Hopefully, when I've got tickets to go to the Browns Ravens game in December, I think it's on the 14th at that Monday night game. So looking forward to that as well. But hopefully it won't be raining and drizzling like it was up at the stadium today. But hey, we are hardy Cleveland fans. I'm so tired of hearing all the people whining about, well, we need a dome stadium and all of this again. We're Cleveland fans, folks. These guys The players out there on the field, all they want is that win. And Stefanski's got them looking only 1 week ahead, and they're 1-0 after this win. They're 7-3, but don't tell Stefanski that. But just a good win. Browns really struggled offensively. They had their first offensive possession. They went 3 and out to begin the game. I wrote some notes down here when I was looking through. Let's see here if I can pull up all my. So Philadelphia did get the ball on their first drive in the first quarter, actually drove all the way down the field. And our new defensive end, Elliott, the kid that we picked up, the rookie from Missouri, got a really nice hit, dislodged the ball, forced a fumble. The Browns were able to recover at their own 4-yard line to stop Philadelphia from scoring first. The Browns then went all the way down the field, and I'm still miffed and don't understand what happened there. The Browns, you were using Nick Chubb, and then they substituted Kareem Hunt at the end there. They got all the way down to like the 2-yard line, 1-yard line. They had an interference call. They had 4 tries to get the ball in the end zone. Baker Mayfield was high to Austin Hooper on one of them in a pass where he was wide open. So it's Baker's fault. But why they had Kareem Hunt there at the beginning, I just thought I thought Stefanski, in my opinion, made a mistake in not having Chubb in there at the very beginning of the game after he had had a nice couple of runs in that second drive that the Browns had. So the Browns don't score. They called it a touchdown for Kareem Hunt, but then they called it back because his elbow had stepped outside of the line or stopped outside of the goal line. But the next drive, Philadelphia, Carson Wentz just threw this awful pass at midfield that Taki, our linebacker, who was the team captain today, ran it back 50 yards for the score for the pick six that gave the Browns that 7-0 lead. From there, both teams just, didn't do a whole bunch. There were a lot of punts. It was a beautiful win, though, a beautiful game, like Coach Stefanski kept telling us after the game, and got the score to where then kind of messed up there the second half when Baker flubbed the ball, fumbled it. Philadelphia was able to score, but then the Browns really started doing that thing that they've been doing because they have the best running back tandem in the land, and that's Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they started getting some pretty bulk runs, and Chubb had a great 54-yard run, again, down the left-hand side. The blocking, too, by the wide receivers like Jarvis Landry was just tremendous on that play that allowed Nick Chubb to get an additional 10 or 15 yards. And at that point, then we were able to get the touchdown. On the next play, they brought in Kareem Hunt, who then decided to take air and got over the goal line to give the Browns that additional lead. They had just the Browns had gotten a safety because of Olivia Vernon, who had 3 sacks on the day, which was tremendous. And they got the safety, which gave them the 12-10 lead, and then they scored this touchdown with Kareem Hunt, gave them the 19-10 lead. They tacked on a 3-point kick and took the 22-10 lead. Thought they were going to milk the clock, get it, but then they gave the Philly Eagles one last chance. They did score a touchdown with about 30 seconds to go, and the Browns did have to recover an onside kick, like we mentioned before, but they were able to secure it. This whole season, outside of that first touchdown drive that was called back from a touchdown for the Browns, and I really question Stefanski. Stefanski's doing, again, for the most part, really good things with this team, and you can just see it. It's like when you're watching, like on the sideline, I was really impressed. Again, it was late in the game, and everybody watches different things, but I was taking note of the fact when Baker Mayfield went off to the side of the field and he was talking to Stefanski, just the body language between the two of them. And I know Stefanski's masked up and whatnot, but you just get that sense, even just watching that, how in tune Mayfield is and Stefanski is together. And that means a lot. It kind of reminiscent to me because I've watched games a long time between, Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar. But, when Bernie would go to the sideline and he would talk to Marty Schottenheimer, or Brian Sipe was always on the sideline talking to Sam Martigliano. That's the kind that I just got that vibe for a quick second. It was like, man, these guys are really in sync. Maybe you see it yourselves, but folks, that's part of the reason why we're talking that the Browns are 7-3. It's that commitment to not looking too far, taking it one game at a time, which I love. And these young kids playing for Stefanski, these Browns, they don't know any better. And they're playing their asses off to win these games. And we're sitting atop, second place. We're not in first place because you got the Steelers. Steelers, by the way, beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to be going down. The Brownies go down to Jacksonville. The Browns have their next 5 games on the road, so it's going to be hard for the Browns. They do go down to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 1-9. Steelers didn't have too many problems with them today, but you never know. The Browns get these 2 big wins against Houston and Philadelphia. They don't want to let their guard down. I don't think they are, because it's, again, Stefanski's taking it one game at a time. Now, I'm looking ahead, a little bit further ahead, but the next 2 games, the Browns play the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens game is that Monday night game that I told you I have tickets to in December, and that's going to be one awesome game. But the Browns are now 7-3, folks. 7-3. They still have the Giants on their record, on their season schedule. They have the New York Jets on their season schedule. They have the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I said, next week. So those are 3 teams that are really by record are not very good, and they're going the other direction. So, you just look at those games on paper, those should be 3 wins for the Browns. So if you just project out, that's 10 wins at least, not considering these other games we've talked about. So there is a lot there. The Browns are positioning themselves in a really good spot. And we don't know how the season is going to continue and how it's going to end. The Browns have a lot of talent, and you never know. And I think that's part of this sort of what's happening right now with why the Browns are really building on something that I think is going to be around for a long time. I love the vibe too you get, like when Nick Chubb had that big run for 55 yards late in the game. Go back and look at the highlight of that game, of that play. And Baker Mayfield, look at what he was doing. He was like a kid at the candy store. He's imitating Nick Chubb running. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, he's in tune, in the game, in the moment, having fun. And teams that are having fun and are starting to learn how to win. The defense for the Browns today was awesome. They really came to play. Myles Garrett had to sit out because of COVID, and those guys in the front lines did amazing things. Vernon had 3 sacks? They had 5 in the game. Hurried Carson Wentz all day long. Carson Wentz made several mistakes. So we'll see what happens next week. But hey, guys, it's Victory Monday, and you should be very happy going into the holiday season. It's Thanksgiving, folks. We have a lot to be thankful for. I know I am. I know you are. So the Browns win 7-3. We said we have Jacksonville coming in. I'm just looking at some of the other stats here. Let's take a look here. So for the game, let's just go back here in time for a moment. And Baker Mayfield, the game didn't do that much statistically, but he was 12 for 22, 204 yards. He was sacked 3 times. His passer rating was just under 90, which is, respectable. Nick Chubb, again, he had that big 54-yard run, 20 carries, 114 yards for almost a 6-point yard average per carry. Kareem Hunt had 13 carries for 11 yards. But he got the touchdown. And Baker Mayfield had one nice run for a first down. I don't know if you remember that one, but it was 3rd down and about 3 or 4, and he got just enough in the second half for a very important early part of the game, or early part of the second half first down to kind of get them going. Hodge for the Browns at receiving, and Higgins both had 3 catches. Hooper had a couple nice catches as well in there. Landry had a couple catches. So everybody, the ball was spread around a little bit. Both teams, special teams. Well, the Browns did miss a 47-yard field goal that got blocked. Both teams were punting the ball quite a bit, but a lot of opportunities. Denzel Ward had a nice interception late in the game. He had been called for a pass interference call right before that and was able to get the ball. It was tipped, and then he was able to secure it right before the end of the game. So that's great for Denzel Ward. So, the Browns are just, that's another part of their game defensively is to, get these turnovers. And they did that. And, the idea we kind of knew coming into the game that Carson Wentz was going to struggle. He has been already. So the fact that he had the 2 turnovers, the 5 sacks, that all kind of plays into what we thought was going to happen. The remarkable thing about the NFC right now for Philadelphia is that they're still in first place. Unbelievable to think that they're still in first place. So they're giving teams like the Washington football team and the New York Giants opportunities still to win that division. It's crazy. They're 3 wins, 6 losses, and a tie, and they are still in first place. What a horrible, horrible division. But doesn't matter. Every game's a big game. We'll see what happens going into the next week, but hey folks, it's Victory Monday tomorrow, and we got Thanksgiving. We should all be so thankful. The Browns are in a spot we haven't seen since 1994, folks. That is awesome. Well, the Browns win. If you'd like to share a comment, if you're watching the show right now, I'd love to hear from you. And let's see here. I'm going to click on here. And okay, so if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. And hope you're having a good evening yourself. And just looking at some of the other games in the league today, let's go back and look at this just real briefly. We had the Green Bay Packers this afternoon are playing the Indianapolis Colts, and actually the Packers have taken a 28-14 lead over the Colts, which actually I think kind of helps us out because the Colts are 6-3, and the Packers are in the other division, so that's going to help us out a little bit. If you're a Jets fan and you were hoping for a win, finally, you're not going to get it this week. You're playing the Chargers, and the Chargers are up on you at halftime as well. The Broncos are hanging on to a slim lead against the Dolphins right now. And the Dallas Cowboys are actually beating the Minnesota Vikings at halftime 16-7. In earlier games this afternoon, the New Orleans Saints, who are playing really good football and probably one of the better teams in the NFC right now, they beat the Atlanta Falcons 24-9. The Washington football team ended up beating the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know, well, maybe you don't know this, but Joe Burrow took a really bad hit during the game today, suffered massive damage to his knee, and so he will not be playing the rest of the season. Hopefully he will get back to playing next year, but it was a very gruesome, ugly injury, and hard to see that. He's a really good player and should be playing for many years, but when you have that knee kind of injury, it could pay attention to that as his future goes on, because knee injuries are hard to come back, especially like if you're a quarterback. So we'll see what happens with that. The Carolina Panthers shut out the Detroit Lions. Lions do this every year. They get a few wins early and then they fade off into the sunset. The Steelers again won 27-3. Jaguars only got a field goal. So the Browns get to go down to Jacksonville next week. Should be interesting to see how the Browns perform. I don't see them winning a game like that, like the Steelers do, because they're the Steelers. Steelers are now undefeated. I think they're 10-0. Tennessee Titans again won the big game against the Ravens. The Ravens were on top of that game 21-10 at one point. The Titans came back, tied the game late, 24-24, went into overtime. Derrick Henry had a nice little 50-yard, 40-yard run to win the game against the Ravens. So that bumps the Browns up to second place, folks. Second place. Amazing. Think about this, folks. We did not have, we had all these projections before the start of the season, what was going to happen with the Browns. If you had told yourself after week 11, the Browns would be sitting in second place with a 7-3 record. Oh my gosh. Tremendous. Awesome stuff. So exciting. This is going to be a great week. It's Thanksgiving. I know I've told you that 4 times, but man, it's awesome. This is the holidays. This is a gift that we're being given. We've got what are the late games tonight? I don't see them here. Oh, okay. So yeah, tonight we'll have the Chiefs playing the Raiders. So that's going to be a big game too. Can the Chiefs bounce back? They did get beat by the Raiders. I'm going to be pulling for those Chiefs because, the Raiders have right now they have a 6-3 record. We want to knock them down a little bit of a notch. The game is in Las Vegas, so we'll see how that pans out for them. But I look for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to really do a much better job and win that game again. The Chiefs are 8-1. The Raiders are 6-3. Should be a really good contest tonight. Looking forward to watching that. And another earlier game, by the way, the Houston Texans, who we beat last week, is the Browns. They did beat the New England Patriots tonight, 27-20 as well. So Browns are just, it's a big week, big win. Some teams are losing that we needed them to lose. I know it's fun to me when I see these young kids who haven't seen any luck with the Browns since they were born, trying to look at all the playoff scenarios. And all I'm thinking about is, man, I haven't seen 7-3 for decades, right? Isn't that exciting? I mean, we should just enjoy the moment, breathe a little bit. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to take a deep breath myself, but we got to keep marching forward and just enjoy how these young people for the Browns and their coaches are playing for one another. And keep watch that chemistry between Stefanski and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is going to have a couple more moments this season that are going to be very important, and we're going to need him. But what he's doing right now and how he's helping manage this team and having those running backs in the backfield, man, Nick Chubb is one special kid. I mean, when he might not have a whole bunch of huge runs, but when he breaks one and goes 40 or 50 or 60 yards, it's magic, man. Watch that stiff arm he gave the Philadelphia Eagle player today on his way to that 54-yard run was tremendous, just tremendous. All right, folks, I hope you have a great afternoon. Browns win 22-17. They go to 7-3 on the season. This is the Dawg post-game show. It's good to see you here. Thank you for checking in, and we will come back to you later this week. We'll have a preview of our next game that the Browns play against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Check out my articles too on clevesporttalk.com. Had the latest past article about Carson Wentz that I'd love for you to go out and read that. Great website, great writers on that site. So check them out as well. Thanks again for tuning in and have a great evening. And remember, everybody, to keep smiling. Take care.